Hello, everyone, wherever you're joining us from. I welcome you to another episode of Disruption. And I'm your host, Tomilola Arogundade. And for those who might be joining in for the very first time, wondering what exactly we discuss on this podcast. On Disruption, we talk about how AI is transforming different job roles that we have today and how and what we should expect from them in the coming years, particularly by the next decade. So yeah, we're just here to provide you with information to keep you up to date with the current trends on how AI is transforming your field. Yeah, so that is our own mission at Disruption. And I would also implore you to hit that subscribe button and share this episode with as many people as possible. Today we are going to be discussing about how artificial intelligence is transforming the field of cybersecurity. And I have two very, very important people with me in the studio today. I have Aina Abolaji and Tomilola Arogundade. So I'm going to allow them introduce themselves. Aina Abolaji.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aina Abolaji. I'm a computer science student and also a cybersecurity enthusiast.
All right, thank you. Tomilola.
Okay, my name is Tomilola Arogundade, and I'm currently working as a cybersecurity instructor at a tech institute. I am also into penetration testing.
All right, thank you guys for making out the time to be here with us today. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about cybersecurity, AI. I mean, it's an extensive topic. It's a lot to talk about. But before we begin, I need to clarify something. Is cybersecurity all about hacking? According to what we see in the movies, you will see a guy with a system trying to hack maybe an application or maybe hack another system, and he's trying to do it in record time. Is that what cybersecurity is all about? Just hacking systems?
Okay, so cybersecurity is more than just hacking. So basically, cybersecurity is about protecting systems, probably protecting websites, network, and things like that. But then it's more than just hacking. These movies, they portray it as something that it is very easy to do, and you just sit down and probably press some things on the keyboard and okay, you back the system. But it's more than that. It requires a lot of effort, yes. And still under cybersecurity, we have some people that don't even hack at all. What they focus on is mostly we have people that defend systems, we have people that exploit vulnerabilities with system and look for ways to fix these vulnerabilities. So there are just different aspects of cybersecurity and it goes way beyond just hacking. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, Abolaji, what's your take on that? Is cybersecurity all about hacking, as the movies have portrayed to us?
Oh, no, not really. I feel like Hollywood has done a very bad job portraying it in that light. Sometimes it's just about praying that somebody did not, what do you call it? Someone did not click a malicious link. Sometimes it's
Wow.
about begging people not to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as their password and things like that. Other times it's about updating malware. Sometimes it's about configuring policies. So it's a very broad field, and then you cannot just it's not just the penetration testing aspect or the hacking aspect. It's a very broad field. Like Tomilola said, there are some people that are in this field and they don't even hack at all. Some people, their job is just to write policies, compliances, and stuff. So that's my take on that.
Okay. So we've been able to mention that in cybersecurity there are other roles aside being an hacker. What other job roles exist in cybersecurity that most people do not know of?
Okay, so we have cybersecurity is mostly divided into three teams. They just call it teams. We have the red team, blue team, and then okay, the last one is GRC. So what the red team people do is they're mostly ethical hackers and then penetration testers. Those ones exploit vulnerability and then look for ways to fix those vulnerabilities. Then we have blue team. What the blue team has do is that they defend against vulnerabilities. So they call them SOC analysts. We also have people that are into GRC. I think more people are going to GRC now. GRC means governance, risk, compliance. So what they do is they help organizations to comply with some cybersecurity regulations that we have. So I think the aspect of cybersecurity that many people don't know about is GRC.
GRC. That is
Yes.
governance. You said governance. Can you come?
Risk.
Can you come to that again?
Okay, governance, risk, and compliance.
Okay, governance, risk, and compliance. All right. All right.
Compliance, yes.
Compliance. Okay, and they are the ones that ensure that organizations are following the should I say maybe
They're just
cybersecurity act or cybersecurity laws that the country
yes.
might have. Okay. 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 Abolaji.
We have these guys. They're under blue teams as well. Is the digital forensics analyst. So those are the guys that after an event happened, after an attack happened, they would have to go back, just like basic forensics. They have to go back and check, okay, these are the things that caused it, or they would try to walk back, right? Once an event has happened, they're the one that would go there like an incident responder. They would go there and check. Then we also have DevSecOps. Those ones are like product managers, right? They usually
Yeah,
they
for
build the
cybersecurity.
yes, DevSecOps.
How
So
does
it's
that work?
development. What do you say?
I said, how does that work? Being a PM
Okay,
in cybersecurity.
okay, it's being a PM in cybersecurity. So they are the one that would ensure that when you are developing a product, the security features are intact or they are kept there. So in case I want to build a say a website, an e-commerce website, so they are the one that will ensure that the product I'm building, all the security features they are in check, right? So we are not missing any security features that would haunt us at the end of the day. So that's their work. And
Okay.
basically, I don't find them different from DevSecOps. The DevSecOps are the guys that are involved in development, security, and operations. So basically, whenever a product is being built, a new software is being built, DevSecOps would be testing the product while it's being built for security issues. So we have DevSecOps, we have malware analysts. Those guys are the one that do reverse engineer. So you would see a new virus come out, and then these guys will be trying to reverse the code to understand, okay, how was this code built and why was this code built. That's their job basically. So we have others though, but then it's just these ones are the ones that most people don't know about.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And what is it exactly that you do? What is your own role? Yeah, I've missed all of this.
Well, for now though, I can talk about my past roles during internships. Currently, I'm just a student in school, but then my
Okay.
past roles during internships would involve things like um, firewalls deployment, antivirus management, system patching, recovery of that's the point where digital forensics come in. Recovery of lost files on an hard drive or even a corrupted hard drive, trying to repair it. Things like um, testing systems, right? Testing applications, things like IDRL. I can't remember what. Okay, indirect object referencing, testing
Mm.
IDRLs on machines, even OWASP top 10. So those are the basic things I do in a nutshell, what I do involves user management, right? Sometimes I train people, what and also firewall deployment, network security, and all.
All right. So you are part of the blue team, like Tomilola mentioned.
Currently, yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. And Tomilola, you mentioned earlier that you are into penetration testing. So
Yes.
what exactly do you do as in penetration testing?
Okay. So apart from penetration testing, you can also call it web application security. So
Okay.
I'm into web application security. So what I do is I test websites, look for vulnerabilities in websites, and then look for ways to just fix these vulnerabilities. So I perform like I try to gather information about a particular website, look for the subdomains in the website. And different tools and techniques that helps with the process of what I'm doing. So we're just basically looking for mistakes that developers make when we're building the application.
All right. Okay, so yours is just to find the errors and um, just tell the team that okay, we've been able to this is a loophole here, and you people should fix it so that it won't be exploited. Okay, so let's go a bit personal into your journey. For both of you, what how you've been able to navigate the whole learning curve and up to the point where you are now. So, Tomilola, how has the experience been in cybersecurity for you? Has there been any changes as from when you started and the way you work now? Has there been any changes?
Okay. So I started cybersecurity about 2 years ago. Yes. So I started with YouTube videos, online courses. Just that time, I was just hungry for knowledge, just looking for any single thing that related to cybersecurity. I just went to learn. So then we had just from that time to now, I've noticed that we have more tools now. We have a lot of tools, and just like the way hackers every day they keep improving, like keep looking for more ways to attack an organization or to produce more tools that can be used to attack. Just like that, cybersecurity professionals too, they keep working day in, day out to ensure that okay, how can we protect this particular system? So from then to now, we have advanced tools, we have just different ways of doing a particular thing. AI has also helped us to automate some things. Before then, when you are performing a penetration test and then okay, you observe that okay, there's this JavaScript file in this website. And then you notice that, okay, this thing should not be like this, or there's this particular line of code that should not be there that can be manipulated. So you can just copy and paste it to ChatGPT and ask that, okay, what is this? What can you, what can an attacker do to this particular line of code? So things like that, AI has improved penetration testing. It has helped to make some particular process faster, things like that. So that's what I have to say about it.
Okay. Abolaji, how has the journey in cybersecurity been like for you? And how do you think things have changed as of the time you started up till now?
Okay. Um, when I first got curious about cybersecurity, it was during my junior secondary days. I guess GS3 to be exact. And it was majorly because at first I wanted to become a detective, right? And then,
Hollywood, Abby.
what do you say?
I said Hollywood, Abby.
Yeah, something like that. So then I later saw hackers in movies. I'm like, these guys are better than detectives, right? And but I didn't start learning because at that time, what did I know that I wanted to learn? And as at that time, there was not really much access to the internet. So when I started learning around 2022, and then at first it was like what I ordered versus what I got. I was thinking that these guys in the movies they are doing this thing like this, only for me to be learning mmap, to be learning hashcards, to be learning. I was like too much of learning. So then um, currently, though, the reality is a bit different because even schools in Nigeria now they are already giving awareness to these things. Like most schools now, like my school now, there is a full blown cybersecurity course, a BSc degree, right, for cybersecurity. So I feel like that's a step in the right direction. When I was going into the university, I didn't have that. I was looking for cybersecurity degree, but I didn't see that. So now there's now much structured awareness. More educated people are looking at it. Because when I first told my dad I wanted to become an hacker, he said, "No, that thing does not make sense." But then now, over the years now, we've seen positive changes, and now there are now more structured free resources. Like Google has free certifications. You can see certifications on Netcard. You can see Try Hacking is there, Hack the Box is there. So there are more. There are now more free resources. Let me put it that way for beginners to get started. And then, like she mentioned, AI. That AI thing has helped a lot, right? So sometimes I will not remember the line of the command. I'll just be like, Chat GPT, help me out here. Or sometimes I may make mistake with the flags that I'm using for my commands. I'm like, ChatGPT, please help me out here. So it's much easier. It's much easier now than it was when I first started. In the sense that I don't need to remember everything that I need to use. I could just get what I need to use for that moment, and then not overburden myself with a lot of unnecessary knowledge. I think you get my point. So then,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's. I'm just positive about the changes that we'll be having. Everyone is now looking at it in the light that it's supposed to be, not the light that Hollywood has depicted it for us to be.
That's great. That's great. And I hope Hollywood is listening as well so that they can actually show the real work behind cybersecurity and not just as something that you carry your system and you are hacking away. Okay. So we've looked at your journey. We've looked at how AI has been um, helping you guys. So I you've been able to mention that AI has been able to help you to automate some of the things you do, and the AI also assists with assist with the heavy stuff. That is, if you can remember a certain thing, AI can add as a, let's say, an external memory or an external brain just to assist you with some of the tasks that you handle. So, looking at everything, how would you say AI, artificial intelligence, has reshaped your thinking about cybersecurity? Has it reshaped your approach in any way?
Yes, AI has totally changed the way I think about cybersecurity as a student and as also as somebody that's entering into the field. So previously, I used to think of it as a field that was majorly reactive, right? So it was like the attackers are the ones that were doing the job, and just your own is to respond to what the attackers are doing. But then it has become a little bit more different since the prevalence of AI, right? So then it's now more predictive and behavioral focused. An example is this: when I wanted to start my final year project, I went to my supervisor and we spoke, and she was like, "You can't do anything that does not involve AI." I'm like, "I want to do cyber security something." She was like, "You can't do anything that does not involve AI." I'm like, "I don't know machine learning. I don't know artificial intelligence." She was like, "But you still have to do it." So I was like, "Okay, it's time to go and learn." Right. So I presented her my topic. I told her that I want to do a system. I want to develop a system that can detect phishing scams, and then without AI, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And I've also seen that AI makes this thing quite easy, makes it quite easy because there's subtle things that I'm not going to notice in a text or subtle things I'm not going to notice in an email or an SMS. The algorithm that have been trained can easily detect it. So then it has made it a lot more easier. It has made it a lot more easier in that sense. And then I made mention of my internship earlier. I did my internship at will I call it? Okay, it's a secure print company. They do prints like check books and things like that, government documents basically. So then that's when I was majorly using AI for cybersecurity related works. So it made things very easier. Our firewall configurations that I've forgotten, or the antivirus is not working, or the signatures are not correct. I just give it to AI straight up and get my results, implement it. So it's like AI is helping me people be more efficient. Things that normally should take people hours, longer time to do is now things we're doing in minutes. So I feel like this is the best time to get into cybersecurity. This is the best time to get into tech because it makes your AI has come and it has made your work a little bit more streamlined and easier.
All right, thank you. Tomilola, how has AI reshaped your approach to cybersecurity?
Okay, so AI has helped me to learn faster. So, like I said before, when I was talking about penetration testing, that I can just notice a line of code, maybe in a JavaScript file in a website, and they just send it to ChatGPT and ask that, okay, what can an attacker use to manipulate this line of code or something like that. And also, like I said, there are different tools that we use for penetration testing. So I can just go to ChatGPT and say, okay, I know this tool is used for, let's say, reconnaissance. Explain it to me like I'm a child. Like, how is it going to work? Or just how will I use it? So things like that. So AI has helped me to understand things faster and better.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for those responses. So we're talking about AI, and we want to look at AI from both angles. You have mentioned the good use cases of AI, but there are those who also use AI for, let's say, for malicious purposes. Is AI more of a double-edged sword? That is it empowering both defenders and hackers? And if so, how can we ensure that AI is used for good, particularly in favor of defense? With the rise of deep fakes, because I have heard quite a few stories about there was I think it was in an organization where it was a senior level executive. Someone called him via a video call, and they told him that he should send a huge sum of money out of the organization's account. And in the video call, it looked as if it was the entire board that was on that meeting. Only a few hours later for him to realize that it was a deep fake. And that is one of the malicious uses of AI.
Okay, I just like depends on the intention of the person. I said just like from when I started learning cybersecurity up to now, we have more advanced tools. So just like the hackers, where they are currently working like day in day out to ensure that okay they attack more organizations. We also have cybersecurity professionals too that they also develop tools or look for new ways to protect systems or network and things like that. So if protect us, and also I think one other thing that we can do is cybersecurity awareness. So we're telling people that okay, don't use this particular password, or if you know that okay, just like the thing you said about deep voices, that
The deep
it
fake.
happened. Okay, yes, deep fake. So there are also some AI tools that people use to probably clone a person's voice or to make it sound like a person. So just like that, they're just things. If everybody is aware of it, that okay, AI can do this particular thing, or attackers can use AI as a tool to do this thing, it will help us to protect. It will just help us to be conscious of the fact that since we know that AI can do this thing, what can we use to prevent it? Or we should just be more careful when we are interacting with things online. I think that's me.
All right. All right. Abolaji, I also want to ask, like, I just want you to give us your own take on it. How do you, what measures do you feel we can put in place to ensure that AI does not become um, a malicious tool for the hackers or the bad players?
Should I answer the first question?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Um, AI is definitely a double-edged sword. I recently told someone on LinkedIn that AI is like a knife, right? In the hands of a chef,
Mm-hmm.
a culinary tool, it's kitchen utensils. But in the hands of a killer, it's a murder weapon. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about intent, like you said. So in as much as it empowers the defender with advanced detection and automation, it also gives criminals good way to scale their attack. I think I mentioned in my project earlier that it had made me see that with AI you can generate more subtle intent. Like the phishing campaign will not be, you won't see it clearly, but then it's subtle. You will not be able to tell that it's a phishing attempt. You can do that with AI. So now it's very easy to convince someone. And then deepfake technologies as well, to like you mentioned, impersonating voices, videos for fraud scam. But then, but then the thing about balancing these things should be policies, governmental policies, and organizational policies, nationwide policies, institutional based policies, and so on and so forth. Just policies and laws and regulations. So that's why earlier we mentioned that there's an aspect of cybersecurity called GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. So you should have policies like this in an organization whereby something called separation of duties or segregation of duties or two person integrity. So now separation of duties is a policy, right, that is implemented whereby to complete a task, two people have to do it. So now for a financial transaction to be carried out, two people must do it. So you have to defake at least two people before before that scam can be carried out. Or then two people integrity. I'm sure you've seen in movies whereby they say they want to launch a missile, but two people have to switch the key at the same time. Two people
Yeah.
integrity. So policies like that have to be kept in place. So one major thing to do is policies and awareness, right? There was a video my dad sent to me, I think that should be about a month ago, that Dangote was saying that some people should come and invest. I was just laughing when I was reading the comment section. I was like, this is clearly a deep fake, right? But someone that is not aware of it would or someone that has not been sensitized of it would not know that, okay, this is a deep fake or how to spot one. So it does boil down to policies and awareness. AI is here and is here to stay, but then it should government and institutions should put policies in place to curtail these things.
All right, thank you very much for that response. So I want us to come home a bit. Do you think Nigerian organizations are truly ready for AI enhanced security, or are we still playing catch up? Tomilola.
So to be honest, we are still catching up. But then I know that some banks and fintech companies are already using AI for things like detecting fraud. But the problem is most organizations is they wait until probably a cyber attack occurs or an attacker attacks them. That is when they start thinking about cybersecurity. And they don't know
Okay,
that
they are more. In those cases, they are more proactive than
yes.
They are more reactive than proactive, rather.
Yes. So they don't know that the amount of money they will lose when a cyber attack occurs is more than just the amount they'll
Yeah,
pay.
and I've read reports of banks losing huge amounts yearly
Yes.
because of fraud.
Honestly. So I feel like banks are still way ahead of other organizations in Nigeria. The aspect of
Mm, mm.
cybersecurity.
Okay, so what do you think? Do you think the public sector is ready? Public sector aspect of Nigeria. Are we ready for AI and security? Or have there been policies that the government has put in place?
So Abolaji, do you want to answer that question?
Oh, okay. Uh, Policies by Nigerian government for in the public sector.
Yeah.
Uh, there there has not been really much policies. The guys in charge of this stuff, I think NIST, that's
Mm.
Nigerian security stuff. Sure. I think they were trying to carry out a program at one point whereby they wanted to educate Nigerian youth about cybersecurity and every other stuff like that. But the funny thing to me was that they did it in partnership with Minister of Sport and Youth Development. I'm like, you want to synthesize us. I remember, I think that should be 2023 or 2022. I don't think I've gotten to school then. But I think 2022, 2023. They said they wanted to synthesize the use and do cybersecurity awareness. I think in partnership with Alogene Security Group as at that time. They did the training all well and good, right? But then there wasn't any policy backing these things up. Because if you check now, most of the policies we're using in Nigeria, for the banking sector, and every other thing is not Nigerian based. We're using PCI for credit card payments. We're using PCI, I think, and DSS, and so many of our policies. Most of the policies we have are not local based. Most of them are imported from foreign countries. We are not putting our attention on policies for cybersecurity, and neither are we putting our attention towards policies for artificial intelligence. So I feel like we are still playing catch up in this, and there is more that we can do as a people, and there is more that our government can do as a government.
Okay, so the public sector is still catching up. But in contrast to the public sector, how do you think the private sector is faring in terms of AI and security?
Okay, for private sectors, so I feel like for the public sector, the government are like, well, it's not my it's not my father's business, right? But for the private sector, I feel like everyone is carrying their cross on their head. So most organizations, like she had mentioned, most banks are trying in Nigeria now. Banks, telecommunications, and the oil and gas industry as well. And the only thing I see that is wrong in what we are doing, right? That the institutions that are still playing catch up should be things like schools, right? I've had cases of people saying they hack into my school's university. I'd gotten to so many universities and I just see what do you call it, network cables lying around, and I'm like, everyone has the password to the office in ICT. I'm like, how is that possible? So, what do you call it? Most institutions, because humans are still there, and then there is no policies per se from the government, right, that individuals can normally put in place or streamline and fix for their own organization. So most individuals are still they're still playing catch up, so to say. But then there are few industries that we know of in Nigeria that are actually trying to reach up, and they have putting some things in place. Like I said, the banking sectors are trying their best, the telecommunication sectors are trying their best, a few other sectors like that.
Okay. All right. And I would like both of you to share a notable cybersecurity incident from the past that has shaped either the public or private sector responses. So we know the kind of threats that we're up against.
Okay, so in 2013, there was a data breach that affected Yahoo. So, and in 2016, they revealed the attack in 2016. So that showed that
Years later.
they lacked
Years
transparency.
later.
3 years later,
That is crazy.
it is. It is.
How do you hide
So,
a breach for 3 years and nobody
honestly,
notices?
so over 3 billion accounts were compromised. Their email addresses, names, phone numbers. So the attacker stole the data by
Wow.
manipulating cookies. So the attacker was able to bypass authentication, and then it's like the attacker just got access to their database and took the whole thing there. So, and they just showed the world how damaging lack of transparency can be in cybersecurity. So people lost trust in them because of that.
Wow. And how did management how did because as you said there would be loss of trust between the customers
Yeah.
and the company. But how was the management able to handle that? Coming out later after 3 years to say, oh, we had a breach where we're just telling you now your data might or might not have been stolen.
Like it was maybe it's probably because it was just people's information. Let's say it was money now. Let's say maybe it was a bank in Nigeria and then they got people's money. Hey God. The way people react to it. But most people think that okay, their information is not important. So they
And
just maybe
okay.
it's just email address and phone number, what is there.
Oh,
So but I think they
wow.
delayed because they did not want it to affect their company, of course.
But it will
And that
still
was
better
very
affect their
wrong.
company. And in a country like US, there if something like that happens and for concealing it, I know that there might be maybe either the Department of Justice or maybe the
Or maybe
Department of
someone decided to
Defense.
sue the
Yes, or
organization.
someone in Congress might launch a case or an inquiry into them, and it still affects the business either way.
Mhm.
But I think transparency is key as well for businesses. I mean, if you have an attack, if something goes wrong in the business, it's important for you to take that bold step and let your customers know that, oh, this is the issue, this is how we plan to handle it. And yeah, yeah. So, Abolaji, do you have any experience? Do you have any incident that comes to mind?
Yes, there is. It's not like a single incident per se.
Okay.
But I feel like it tallied with what I was saying earlier, that the telecommunication sector had gotten something right. So there was something that was going on around the world. It was quite rampant. It had not started before we had mobile phones or mobile SIM cards. It was the telecom scam as at that time. But then when mobile SIM card came in, we had this huge scam called SIM card swap scam.
Okay.
And as at that time in most of nations, everybody were already connecting their bank accounts to their SIM. They're connecting countries like United States that use social security numbers, were connecting to their SIM card. Nigerians that use SIM, tax identification number, everybody was just connecting everything to their SIM card as at that point. So what happened was that the criminal would gather basic information about the person. That's the attacker now, and then he would call. I'd watch a video of this happen live. I think it was DEFCON 2014. So
Wow.
the lady traced the call and she called the telecommunication provider that she had misplaced her SIM card. Her baby is crying. She's trying to cook and she needs her SIM card to be swapped urgently and she would come and pick it up. She asked for her details, she said the name and everything. She just made it feel like it was a matter of urgency and she needed it so quickly. Whereas it wasn't her SIM card, she didn't have a baby on her. I think she was playing the baby sound from another phone. And it was just like that. And eventually they swapped the SIM card for the other person and they gave it to her. But then bringing that down home to Nigeria, once they contact the telecommunication provider, they swap the SIM, they go pick up the SIM card. And what happened back then was that telecommunication people, the people in charge of the swapping of the SIM, they didn't take fingerprints, they didn't take capturing, that's facial capturing. And as at that time, there was no NIN or a central body that checked up with Nigerians data. So as at that time, it was just you go in, you swap it and come out. So that it was very easy for people to generate OTP and then siphon or clear out people's accounts.
Wow.
I was checking again on Twitter. I think I went back to 2014 and someone guy was crying, 400K gone this morning. They swapped my SIM. I was
Back
just
to
laughing.
2014.
So
That is
yes,
a amount
it
of
was
money.
around that time. So then the way the government and the telecommunication people responded was that Nigerian government they launched out NINs whereby it's a central database for every Nigerian's data. So that means you cannot claim to be who you're not. I feel like you're not supposed to claim with who you're not with NIN right now. But then they enforce policies that anyone that's coming to swap the SIM must come in physically. You must provide your fingerprints. You must come for capturing. You must provide your NIN. So things like that were the policies that, like I said earlier, policies is actually the major thing that would make anything you do a as an institution survive. So then policies had to come in place because the people that were actually swapping these SIM cards in the first place were the staffs of this telecommunication organization. So now you know that there are policies and that the policies can get you legal charges. So now you will not want to do something that would compromise you. So then I feel like that was something that shaped the private and also the public sector response because it was affecting everyone at that point.
Okay. Okay. SIM card swap. Sorry to those who fell victim of that. All right, so let's do a bit of cybersecurity education here. Let's just call this part of the show cybersecurity education. What are the kind of threats that people should be on the lookout for, and what would you advise that people do to protect themselves from attacks? From being compromised. Because I know some people usually spin wheel to win. Is this Samsung S24 or that kind of thing? Then from winning Samsung S24, your phone is probably hacked or something. So, what kind of advice would you give people, Tomilola?
Okay, so for just like said, for individuals, I think phishing is like the most common one, and it's mostly sent through mails. So it's a phishing link that will send to you through your email, and then they just make it attractive. They know that a lot of people are greedy and they want money. So they tell you that, okay, OPay is celebrating 10th anniversary. Click on this link to get maybe 100,000 or something like that. So you just know that if it is about money, some people will click on it. So even still today, I don't know, with the way everybody is shouting, I don't click on any link that is suspicious or anything like that. People still click on them because they want something. So the most common one, phishing, and they just try to manipulate people by, they make it attractive. So when you click on it, it's either there's something that they do, like the advanced level one, you can clone a website, let's say google.com. So when you click on the link, it will show you the google.com, the sign in page, exactly like the way it looks like
Wow.
google.com. There's even there's a tool that came out I think this year, yes. Evil GINX. Okay, so it's without tool, you can bypass multi-factor authentication. So with google.com, let's say they
Sorry, let
send
me
a
add
token
at
to
this
you.
point. Disclaimer:
Okay.
any tool that for the audience, this is for the audience. Any tool that is
Okay.
probably mentioned here, I want you to know that on this show, we do not encourage you to engage in malicious purposes. Everything being mentioned here
It's
is
for
only for
educational purposes.
educational and informative purposes. Please, if you
Disclaimer.
are caught doing anything against the law, well, that's for you. That's for you to find out. All right, you can continue.
Okay. So before we have two-factor authentication that you have to send maybe a token to your phone number. But now you can even bypass that. They will send the token to your number, but then somehow the attacker gets access to it. So it looks
Wow.
so real. And then you put your username and password thinking, okay, this is google.com. And then the attacker is on one side, like it's checking, they're sending your username and password to the person's server. So that's just like basic level. And
Mm,
apart from that, we have like spear phishing too. Is like you're targeting a particular organization and things like
mm,
that. But I think phishing is like the most common one for individuals.
mm. Okay. Abolaji, what kind of threats should people be on the lookout for? And what's your advice to protect yourself in this digital age, like where attacks happen literally almost every day? Even as we speak right now, there is an attack going on somewhere. So, how should people protect themselves?
Type of attack. Um, one should be the broad class of social engineering. I think phishing is under it, and there are other types. Social engineering is just basically manipulating people, right, to give up confidential information. That's basic manipulation. So it could be somebody that is impersonating your mom, somebody impersonating your boss, somebody impersonating the guy in IT, or using your personal. I think there was a time that I was. Should I say this? Yeah, there was a time I was looking for someone. Right, I was looking for someone on the internet, and I couldn't find him. But I just needed to find this person and everyone related to him as at that point. And at the end of the day, I was able to find his brother, his sister, his mom, and his dad. So that was just social engineering. This is social engineering per se. It was just using personal information found on the internet, right, to try to convince you to give up something that only you are
Oh,
supposed to
wow.
know. So that's
Okay.
just one of another one should be credential stuffing. Someone that uses the same password across multiple websites or a very
I
simple
think a lot of
password.
people are guilty of this.
Yes, I'm also guilty of this. I was also guilty of this. I was also guilty of this. So another one is credential stuffing. The thing is, um, to attack most website that does not have two-factor authentication, to attack a platform or a site or an application that does not have two-factor authentication, there's something called what's it again? There's something called brute force attack, right? We don't need to necessarily start typing password one by one before we can attack a system. There are files that already have millions of passwords inside it, and all we need to do is to run a command, and this command will be testing each of those individual passwords, like common passwords in the world, and to be testing
Wow.
them against your application one after the other. So that's a brute force attack. And there are so many others, but one that organizations should look out for is insider threats. Insider threats.
Okay. True.
So an
True.
insider threat is basically a current or a former employee giving out information about the organization to another person. I feel like most organizations are trying to block this by giving out non-disclosure agreement and stuff like that. But at the
Mm.
same time, so curtain insider threats, like I mentioned earlier, policies like separation of duties, two-person integrity, and stuff like that. They need to be in place. And it's simple to protect yourself. right, is simple. Okay, sorry, the application the tool she mentioned earlier, there was one that I used to know of at the very beginning when I first started. The name was Beef. The name was Beef, Beef, Beef. So what Beef will basically do is that it's a continuation from after you create a clone website, like say twitter.com, google.com, and the person puts the information there. What happens is at the end of the day, the user would be taken back to twitter.com and the user will be signed in the original twitter.com, but then the information that the person provided to my cloned website I'll be able to see it, right? I'll just be able to see it. And then what Beef does is that it allows the attacker to hook the target browser and then control it. So then I can be able to, that's why you see some people, you see that their laptop, person does the type for their screen and they're not the one that is typing.
God,
So something like,
wow.
yeah, something like
So
Beef,
you
that's what
can remotely control the system from wherever you are.
yes, mostly the browser though. You
Okay.
can control the browser from it. That's why most times you hear somebody tell you that don't turn on your JavaScript for your laptop or don't click on that's exactly what they mean.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
what they mean.
Okay.
So
Uh,
how someone can call it can protect themselves. This one is for individuals now. If you see any email that you were not expecting per se, and it's telling you to click on a link, you are not expecting it per se, maybe from your bank or something. You are not expecting it per se. Please don't click on it. And
okay.
then for softwares, I know like we can't pay for Microsoft 360. But then
Uh,
do not download crack softwares from the internet, especially those guys that use Photoshop and the likes. Do not download crack softwares from the internet. It's There are a lot of things to it. And then despite you can bypass multi-factor authentication, still enable your multi-factor authentication across all your systems, your social media, your Google account. And then, last but not the least, if you cannot remember your password, use a password manager. Use a unique password and use a password manager. So you'll see it's actually incorporated in most browsers now that when you want to sign into an a site, they'll just tell you, do you want a generated password, and that will save for you. That is much better than using 1234567 8 or using your father's
okay.
name or using your mother's name. There was
Something
a
that
video I
attackers can
watched
easily
earlier.
guess.
What, sorry?
I said something that attackers can easily guess.
Yeah, something that they can easily get. I saw a video earlier, right? And they were showing how people were susceptible to like giving out their information. And they were just going around to ask people that, okay, what's your dog name? What's your cat name? What year were you born? They met people in supermarkets and they were just asking them those questions. After a few minutes, they'll come back again to come and ask them more questions and so on and so forth like that until they were able to access
Wow.
the person's account. I was just laughing. I think I saw that video some years back as well too. I was just laughing back then that why they call it. And last thing too is that you need to be aware. So there was a time whereby this thing was very popular for what's it called? WhatsApp. When they want to hack your WhatsApp, they will call you, okay, send me the OTP. I'm from your bank, this one, I'm from your children's school, send us the OTP. Do not send anyone any OTP. I think they always tell you that we will not contact you to ask for OTP.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
And
that's
I also want to ask, Adventure, have you heard about what is called zero-click hacking?
zero day attack.
Zero-click hacking.
Zero what?
Not zero-day attack. Zero-click hacking. Because I remember there was a time I watched a documentary and they discussed about there was the name of one software. I think the name of the software is Pegasus, and it's used for zero-click hacking to gain access to phone systems. I mean, and whatnot, just by probably sending a simple text or a simple email, and the victim doesn't need to click any link or just take any action. As long as they sent maybe an email or a message, they would just override the system and gain access to confidential information.
So most times, while you call it zero click hacking is exactly what you called it, whereby you don't need to perform any action. The attacker would basically once it does something, it basically happens. So there's nothing you can do on your end there's something you can do on your end as a user, but then to against that particular attack at that moment, there's nothing you can do on your end as a user. The thing is, most of the time, it's usually the developer or the companies that own the software. It's usually their, will I call it their cross to carry now. So what happens is that the attacker had noticed, it's like 0-day attack basically. So the attacker has noticed something that the developer had not fixed. The developer may be aware of it. That's why it's not necessarily a 0-day attack. The developer may be aware of it, but then they have not been able to fix it, or they've not been able to release a patch for it. And then the attacker gets to know, or the attacker discovers it, and he was able to create an attack for it. And he eventually sends it out, and then it automatically activates itself, or it automatically runs. So the thing is, basically as a user, it's not from your own end now. It's it's the developer's issue. But the thing that happens with it is that most of the time, most of these big organizations, once they discover that their software has this issue, they would usually release a patch for it. They would usually release a patch for it. So the thing is, for users, the thing you can do is always update. I think when I first started, I was always hearing update. So you always keep your apps updated, your system updated, because from your own end, there's nothing you could do to protect yourself from these things in the first place. And then you will always, there's no way you tell me you will not use WhatsApp, you will not use iMessage, you will not use Twitter, you will not use email. So these platforms are there, but then always make sure you keep your apps updated, your operating system updated. It is very, very much, that's the only thing you can do as the user, because it's only it's only the developers now that can solve this problem. So the only thing you can do as the user is every time they release, I think that's why Microsoft, they usually release updates for Windows every 2 days. 2 days
Yeah,
in a
but it's
week.
usually
I think
frustrating
that's Tuesdays and
whenever
Thursdays.
I'm
Release
picking up
updates
my
for
system and the
Windows
first
two
thing
days
I'm
in a
seeing
week.
is, hey,
So,
hold on, Windows is loading or that kind of thing.
but at least they've discovered something that's wrong with their system, and so that you will not suffer it at the end of the day. It's
Yeah,
better you
yeah,
just
that's
update it
important.
and
So I
just
hope
update it.
the
You get what I mean
audience
now?
has picked up one or two lessons from everything we have said in order to protect yourself and protect your information so that you do not fall victim of attackers. Please do not click any link that seems suspicious. You did not win a prize on any wheel. So please do not spin any wheel to win any prize. All right. Thank you. Okay, so before we end, we still have a few more discussions about AI and cybersecurity, and I would just love to know: do you think there are any rules or skills that will become obsolete in cybersecurity because of AI? Tomilola.
Okay, so there are some old tasks, like there are some people that have to go through, like, call it manual logging, like when they detect a suspicious activity, maybe in a website or a system. So what they do is that they spend hours trying to scan these logs or trying to check that, okay, what really is happening. But with AI now, you can automate these tasks. You can just run a script or something, or AI just help with automated threat detection. So instead of some people to sit down and then spend hours trying to detect this threat, or how did it come in, or how did this thing happen, which part of our system is vulnerable. Now we can avoid the hours that we can spend trying to detect threats through the use of AI. So I think AI has
Okay.
really helped a lot in
Okay.
threat
And what
detection,
new
and that
rules do
role
you
would
think
soon go
we
slave.
should look out
Yes.
for in cybersecurity because of AI?
Okay. So just like I said, AI has helped a lot to threat detection, and we need professionals that know a lot about that. So I think new roles through the use of AI in that aspect too can come up. But just not just anybody is very good in that. It's only people that maybe they have studied
Okay.
AI or they know about threat detection and then AI. So they can
Okay,
develop more
so
tools
more
through
for people who
that
enter
way
more
to
like a
help with
supervisory role,
protecting
just to
systems.
ensure that okay,
Mm.
just to ensure that okay, the AI is detecting the threat here, but at least
Yes.
it's detecting the right thing. Is that what you're saying? Okay, thank you. Abolaji,
Yes.
what roles do you
Yes.
think will become obsolete in cybersecurity because of AI?
Yes, sir.
Or what skills?
Um,
Okay,
is it,
okay,
I don't think obsolete is the word. I feel like the rules will just evolve. I feel like it just evolve. So the thing is, um the guys that are doing log reviews, um, I think before right, zero day attacks were very much prevalent. The only reason why we don't see them that much any longer is because of artificial intelligence in this sense. So before, what they did was signature based. So in case if I'm talking about now for viruses, it was signature based. So in case if a new system, a new software is coming into my system, um, say I'm using Windows Defender now. Windows Defender will check through its list of signatures. It's now check the list of now check the signature of the application that's coming into my system, and it will check is there a match. If there's no match within the signatures, it will accept it. The application is not does not hold any threat. But what they are doing now, incorporating AI with it. So that means the job of someone that is creating antivirus system will not go obsolete. The only thing is that it will evolve to the fact that now we would apply machine learning or artificial intelligence so that whenever a new software is coming, it's not going to only check based on the signature it already has. It will check the signature of the new system that is coming, and it would make decision on its own based on what it has seen previously. It will make decisions, and it will be able to carry out an informed decision that okay, this thing I've not seen it before, but it's most likely a virus. So those roles would definitely evolve, but the ones that would totally and obviously become obsolete, I feel like are those guys that are doing log review because now AI would AI will be able to review the logs and then summarize it. Sometimes I will just get a huge output from a command and I'm like, I can't go through all these things one by one. I will just copy everything, paste it, and tell it, give me all these things in a bullet point or summarize the major things that are there. So manual log removers will be phased out. And then AI more power tools can come out so that it will just summarize the
okay.
attack and
Thank
put it
you.
there. Okay, these are the
Thank you
things
for
that happened
the
and stuff
response.
like that.
Um, okay, now to the next question. We see most of these big tech companies pouring in a lot of effort and a lot of resources to improve their AI models. I mean, we've been hearing reports of AGI, artificial general, I think, intelligence. So we've been hearing that reports. Companies are not resting with improving their AI models. Do you think cybersecurity analysts can be completely replaced by artificial intelligence, or let's not say completely. Do you feel a cybersecurity analyst or maybe a cybersecurity expert or a professional can be replaced by, let's say, an AI agent?
Okay. So the thing about
Mm,
cybersecurity is that it also involves psychology. So it is only human that can fully understand user behavior or craft a response that considers ethics. No, we really value ethics in cybersecurity. That's like what differentiates you from the hacker, just your intention. So since cybersecurity is about psychology, it's like saying, okay, when something happens, how do we respond to this? Incident response to it also under cybersecurity. So there are just some decisions that you have to be a human being to make this particular decision, to think promptly that, okay, this cyber attack has happened. What is the next step? And things like that. So, and the issue with AI, sorry, is that is accountability. If an AI system wrongly blocks a user, we don't expect AI to be perfect. AI is not perfect. So if AI system wrongly blocks a user or maybe flags a harmless file, we have something called false positive. So you can run tests on a particular website and then it's telling you that, okay, this website is vulnerable to this thing. But no, it is not. So that's what we call false positive. So there are just some things that the AI system might flag and it is not the right thing. So accountability in the sense that, okay, who takes the blame? Are you saying the developer is at fault or the organization or the AI? So we have to make sure that there's always a human that is responsible for the decision that the AI makes. So, and I've also talked about decision making. There are just some things that you have to, there are some decisions you have to take on the spot because you're saying, okay, we have detected that this attack happens. How do we isolate affected system? How do we make sure that the attacker doesn't gain access to the whole system, just like a part of it by isolating it? So decision making. So AI does not understand context like human does. So it might act on an incomplete or a biased data. So it does not have like full information. We can train it to be able to respond to a particular attack, but there are just some things that you have to be human to make this decision. AI lacks empathy. So it can block out users or maybe report someone just because of the pattern that it has detected. So if we let AI make too many decisions
Okay.
without human
Abolaji, your own
review,
thoughts. Abolaji, your own thoughts.
I'll start up from where she started as well. The thing is, cybersecurity is an interdisciplinary field, right? She says psychology, it involves ethics, it involves policy, education, and a whole lot of things. And the thing about even the place we are right now with artificial intelligence is that um, I took a course last semester, artificial intelligence, and we're having this discussion in class that have we gotten to
Yeah.
general intelligence yet, artificial general intelligence yet? And the answer was no. That we are still at narrow AI, and it's still going to take us a very long time to get to general intelligence. So, and I was like, okay, but we have ChatGPT and stuff. But then I just got to discover that what ChatGPT is good at is just basically language processing, and it cannot actually bring two domain knowledge together, right? And this is what a human being can do. We haven't gotten to that spot right now whereby a system is able to do exactly what a human being can do. Because artificial general intelligence, they propose that it's something that can theoretically replace a human being and function the way a human being is supposed to function, theoretically. So we haven't gotten there yet. Because a human being now can apply knowledge from one field to another field. That's where problem solving comes in, critical thinking comes in, and various other things. So if as a cybersecurity analyst, I get to the office today and I'm seeing something that has never occurred before, I'll be able to apply problem solving skills, critical thinking to solve it. But then an AI will just be dumbfounded that I've not seen this before. It makes no sense to me. I cannot apply knowledge from another field into this new field. So I don't feel like we've gotten there yet. It's something that we still have in pen and paper. We've not gotten to that point yet whereby we say, okay, AI can now replace the entire field of cybersecurity. We haven't gotten to that point yet. And I feel like AI still has
Okay.
a long way to
Okay.
go
Well,
if it's
I
like
would
that.
also like us to
If it's
look
like
at it
that.
from a practical use case point of view. For example, we've seen
Okay.
Microsoft, for example, cutting down, I think, about 3% of its workforce, I think 6,000 workers, and citing issues such as, AI can actually do some of the work and, so structural, so how they would also use like all these corporate words, just like wrap up everything. So I'm just saying, suppose we had a company, suppose they're in a company and in the cybersecurity unit, we have maybe different teams in the unit, and we had a team of 3 people who are managing threat detection, and AI steps in. Do you think that either, let's say, from 3 workers, from 3 people in that team alone, it can reduce to maybe just one? Because the company might feel, oh, we have AI, why would we need 3? What we just need is, the AI is working, and we just leave one person in place to monitor and supervise the entire thing. Is that actually possible?
Well, it is in some sense. It is in some sense. But then I also believe that human judgment is irreplaceable in this field. The thing is, um, some people might be affected, right? Some people might be affected, but then if you check the statistics, this is a field whereby the numbers of people that are in the field is way less than the numbers of people that they actually need.
Okay.
I'm sorry, is way less than the number of people that they actually need. This is a field whereby um a whole lot of what's that? How will I put it now? A whole lot of jobs are out there that a lot of people have not filled. So, in the sense that I feel like it now boils down to the individual. You cannot say you want to continually um, just remain at reviewing logs or performing tasks that AI can complete, right? Then you take it a step further. If they are looking for someone that can use AI to automate the tools, then you also learn AI. They're always saying that AI is not going to replace you. Someone that knows how to use AI will. So I feel like that's the only issue that anyone that is just dependent on theoretical knowledge or technical knowledge will be missing out on in the later time. Because I feel like human judgment in this field is totally remains irreplaceable, at least for the foreseeable future, at least for the next let's say 30 to 50 years. But then, like, for the next foreseeable future, like, I feel like human judgment is still irreplaceable because there are still ethical decisions to be taken. There are still things that will require human insight. And then there are things that, because this field is ever evolving, we said it at the beginning that is way different 3 years ago than it was now. So this field is ever evolving. So then there are some things whereby a human will have to handle it first before an AI will be able to understand how to handle it eventually. So things like that. That's why I feel like human judgment is irreplaceable. The only things that, like they said, you learn AI.
Okay. So there's something called prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is just all about knowing how to talk to AI tools. So bringing that to cybersecurity now, I said AI can help us to automate threat detection, but then we need somebody that is behind the scenes that is talking to the AI tool in that sense. So if you just like said, you are not just relying on the theory aspect of it alone, you keep improving yourself. You know that okay, people are starting to say AI will replace people's job or something. So you are improving yourself. You are learning more about AI, how to apply AI to what you are currently doing. So if you know how to talk to these AI tools, you know how to automate it, to analyze threats, you can develop tools that can be used to generate reports. You can even stimulate phishing emails for training. So just like the prompts, as they're giving AI more prompts, AI will keep getting smarter because AI is not just working on its own. We have someone behind it, like brain, that is giving it different prompts. So if you keep developing, improving, working on yourself, adding, learning more about this AI and how to apply it to what you are doing,
Okay.
I feel like
Okay. So from a practical
you will
standpoint,
not be
there
replaceable
is
in
a
that way.
tendency for AI to just like filling, let me not say replace, but let me say filling the roles of some of the professionals that we have, but not completely replace. And you both also mentioned that it is important that as cybersecurity professionals, uh, you always stay up to date. You're always learning, so that you do not become, let's say, outdated. Let me put it like that. So you do not become outdated, and you stick only to one worldview, and yeah, eventually sneaks in and say bye bye. So, if you are hearing this, you should learn how to use AI tools as a cybersecurity professional. Okay, so we are almost done. We're almost done with this episode. Just a few more questions, and then we close the curtain on this episode. And Tomilola mentioned something earlier. She talked about ethics in cybersecurity. There's ethics, and I think, according to what I remember about ethics, is just a system of what is right or what is wrong. What ethical red flags should we be watching out for as we train AI to make decisions in cyber defense and surveillance? What ethical red flags should we be watching out for? AI has the tendency to hallucinate. It has the tendency to give wrong responses. It has the tendency to take resource from somewhere that it wasn't authorized to. So what kind of ethical red flags should we be on the lookout for when training AI?
Okay, so I think privacy violations. So it means they are using AI to collect, to process people's personal data without their consent, like facial recognition, location tracking, things like that. The AI already has access to our information. So that's like a violation on our privacy. So I also think since AI is trained with data, so AI can be trained with biased data, and that's like profiling users for or flagging false positive. Like what I said under false positive in fraud detection. Like you're saying this person. I saw a tweet saying that they want to, I think someone wanted to build I think maybe a website or an application that it will use the person's face. Then the AI will
I think I
detect
saw it.
if
Yeah,
they can
but I do not
trust
want to
you with
mention
the money.
any
Like
name.
if you ask for a
Oh,
loan. And
I think I also saw
okay,
it
yes.
because I saw it on X. Yeah, there's one fintech company in Nigeria trying to do that, trying to build an AI model to
Okay.
determine if a customer is credit worthy, if you are worthy
Yes.
of receiving a loan from them. So they will do it based on how you sound. I think how you sound and how you look. And I remember that when the report came out, there was a lot of backlash. Like
Yes. How
even
will
from
you
people in the data industry, they were like, "You didn't know that building that kind of system can bring in bias because it was a lot." So because
honestly?
of the way I sound, you would say
Because how will you say someone looks
we
like a
can't give you the loan. I'm
criminal?
sorry. Hmm. Okay,
So
so
things like that. That's why we need
privacy
human beings,
violation
honestly.
is, and also bias. Okay, and bad data. Okay, okay.
Situations and
Abolaji, what
yes.
ethical red flag should we look out for
Yes.
as we train AI to make decisions for cyber defense and surveillance?
Yeah. Earlier before she mentioned something about accountability. So like if AI does something, who will be held accountable to it, for it? I think there was this question that was raised earlier as well. I think that was in class as well. Question was the question was if Elon Musk creates a self-driving car and then the car goes ahead and causes an accident, who is responsible for it? Musk, or is it the AI involved in driving the car? And there was debate back and forth and everything. So then there should be policies in place to know who truly is accountable for these things. Who truly is accountable for these things. So I feel like that's one of the things. Accountability is an issue. Bias, like you said, is an issue. And then security as well. Security of people's information. Because AI is being trained on data. If you say you want to train an AI model on, let's say, I want to train on what I want to train on now. So I want to train my AI tool for employment prospects, and then I'm only training from this now does not concern cybersecurity, but I'm only training from people within Yoruba communities and few from Igbo communities or other regions. My AI will have a bias towards the Yoruba people that okay, these are the people that are more favorable. So an imbalanced data set, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. An imbalanced data set is also an issue too. And then lack of quality data to train your AI model with is also an issue. So I feel like that's the major
Okay.
issue that will be faced.
All right, thank you. So we've looked at ethical red flags such as privacy violation, accountability, bias, security, also bad AI producing misbehaving or negative results because of lack of quality data or inadequate data. All right. We've talked a lot on this show today about AI. We've talked about how you guys are using AI in your own work, and it just how AI is just changing and disrupting things in cybersecurity. But for those listening, For those listening who are wondering, how exactly do I start in my cybersecurity journey? What is the first step I should take? What would be your advice to them? What skills or tools would you suggest that you should start learning to thrive in this space? Tomilola.
Okay. So I think the first thing is just to learn like basics of cybersecurity. Just at the beginning, you not do a lot of practical stuff. You're going to jump right into the practical. So just taking time to really understand cybersecurity. Because when you like take courses on maybe introduction to cybersecurity, you understand that okay, we have red team, we have blue team, we have some people that are hacking, we have some people that are not even hacking at all, that they are just in charge of risk management and things like that. We also have people that are defending systems. So if you understand it and you know where you want to major on, I think that is really important. Really important. And if you pick red team, like penetration testing, you know that you have to understand networking, because basically we are protecting every single thing in the internet. And networking is what allows devices to communicate with each other. So if we understand how devices communicate with each other, of course, we know how to maybe deploy these devices. So introduction to networking, you have to know about networking concepts. Some people tell you that okay, you don't have to know some programming languages, yes, to get to cyberspace. I agree to an extent, but I just want to add that if you want to focus on web application security, you have to know. Maybe not be as you don't have to be as good as a developer, but just to understand the code, yes. So just basics of web development. Because if you want to exploit or hack websites, of course you need to know how they build websites, programming languages that they use, or how to understand the way the code is written. So things like that. So introduction to cybersecurity, you need to know about networking before then you also need to know about Linux. So it's an operating system that most of the cybersecurity professionals use, or if you just want to go into cybersecurity, you need to know about Linux. So things like that. And just cybersecurity will teach you patience. Hey, God. It's patience. Well, there are some days that you don't even know if you are doing the right thing or it's not working. It's just, it's teach you patience, teach you a lot of patience because you need to really understand some things. You don't need to rush. Just take your time. You will know it if you are really dedicated to it and you want to know it. So just take your time, just learn. And sometimes you can realize that okay, when I started, after some months, I said, okay, let me jump straight into practical. The way I jump back into theory aspect there. So you just know that I don't understand this thing. And you're not deceiving anybody. Even if you maybe make a video of you just running some scripts and then you post it on your status and people are calling you hacker and everything and you're fine. You don't understand this thing. There's no need to deceive yourself. Just go back to the basics to understand it. Just really, there's no need to rush. Understand it well.
Thank
And
you
you know that
very much,
eventually it
Tomilola.
will pay off.
Abolaji.
I think that's it.
Okay. For me, um, okay, let me just piggyback on what she said. You know, Tiwa,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm taking
yeah.
some students in school, cybersecurity stuff, with a bit of practical. So these guys will come. I'll be teaching them. I'll say, okay, today we want to study networking, and we'll go TCP/IP model. We'll go
Take
OSI
us to the
model.
practical stuff.
I'll just be talking. These guys will be like, it's boring. Don't let us learn this stuff. Take us to practical stuff. I'm like, you guys don't know nothing. You don't know. You don't know yet. So it's just that because when I was I think around that my GS3 time as well too. When I said, okay, let me see what this thing is about, I was saying TCP/IP. I'm like, I don't understand it. I did not understand it. I think it was later on I began to look for resources online. Okay, what exactly is this TCP/IP that they are saying? Okay, I now discovered that okay, it's under computer networks, and I started learning networking and like that. So then skills that I would it truly actually depends on what part of cybersecurity you want to major on. But then there is something that I always tell everyone. There's something that I always tell everyone. You cannot put me in a tech support role now that I will not function. And you cannot also put me in a sysadmin role that I will not function. And also you cannot put me in a network engineer role that I will not be able to function a bit, right? So at least get a bit of this technical knowledge. Like she said, she's focusing on web penetration testing. She has idea of web tools. So it depends on what exactly you want to do. I want to protect systems, right? I learned operating systems. I learned Windows, Linux. I learned Mac OS. So it just depends on what exactly you want to learn. But then there are basic fundamentals. Networking is key. Um, Linux command line, majorly Linux command line. Um, Basic things like scripting. Scripting is not really necessary, but basic things like that depends on what you want to go for. If you want to go to penetration testing, you have to learn scripting and then a bit of automation. And also, there are now platforms whereby you can technically get your hands dirty. Like I mentioned earlier, there is Try Hack Me, there's Ask the Boss. I can't remember this guy's name, and there is Over the Wire. There's Over the Wire. So there are a lot of platforms whereby you can now, what do you call it? You can get, you get your hands dirty and get technical knowledge per se. But then do not skip the fundamentals. Do not skip the fundamentals. Fundamentals like in case if you eventually work in an organization that do identity and access management, you have to learn fundamentals like Active Directory management, learn Active Directory itself, learn access management, and so many other things like that. So you have to know what you want to do, but then there are basic fundamentals that you should not skip
Okay, thank
or
you
should
very
not
much.
jump over.
Something common both of you have said
That's
is
my take.
that do
So
not jump, do not rush. Understanding the fundamentals is very important before starting out with the practical aspects of cybersecurity. Thank you very much, Abolaji and Tomilola. And to the audience, thank you very much for staying with us. We've come to the end of this episode. I say thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for listening. I hope you have learned a lot about cybersecurity, at least from this little chat, even though we didn't go deep. I hope you've learned quite a bit about cybersecurity. You've learned how to protect yourself. You've learned about how AI is disrupting cybersecurity and how you should stay ahead as a cybersecurity professional, or if you are just starting out in cybersecurity, how you should get started. I hope this podcast was able to answer some of the questions that you had. And I had a great time with my guests, Tomilola and Abolaji. Thank you guys for making out the time to be here with us today. We really appreciate that. Okay. And before you guys, this is just a bonus question. It has sort of become a tradition
Thank
on
you
the
very
show.
much.
And I would want to ask, if you could develop an AI system to solve one problem in the world, what would it be? Under 30 seconds. What would that problem be?
I think fraud in banking, just something that will
Okay.
help users like to prevent them from
One, the
losing
cost of
money.
it. Something like that.
Just an AI tool that
Like an AI.
probably warn them, but just follow their pattern.
Oh,
Like you know that
okay.
this person does not like transfer this amount of money or things like that. A more
Mm,
practical way of just stopping like attackers
okay.
in
Thank
banking
you.
system.
Abolaji.
So I want to focus on banking system. Thanks.
no, when you first asked this
Can
question, what
AI
came to my
actually
mind
solve
was
world
word
hunger?
hunger. I was like,
Maybe,
nah.
just maybe we haven't thought of it that way, but it just might. Who
I
knows?
was like, nah. It's, yeah, yeah. But then,
Okay.
I feel like mine will be awareness basically. Like she had mentioned earlier, and I think I'd mentioned it as well. There's now you could use AI now to simulate distance and gamify awareness programs. So now someone does not necessarily need to fall victim to a phishing
Okay.
attack before you can simulate a phishing attack for the user. So then now it could be like a platform whereby you create for organizations whereby you gamify these things, and then most of their staffs can now come interact with the AI platform, and then they'll be able to learn one or two things so that the
Okay.
organization can be safe at the end
That's
of the day.
nice.
And
Very
just
bright
for
ideas
awareness,
from both of
basically.
you. Thank you guys very much. Okay, and to the audience, I say thank you once again for sticking with us. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Please do remember to subscribe and share this episode with as many people as you can. And until next time, I remain your host, Tomilola and Abolaji. See you all on the next episode.